Welcome to Learn Commerce PU online classes. Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.
Hello students, welcome to second PUC Business Studies online classes. Friends, in the previous class you have covered up to financial management, that is management of funds, different sources, then two types of requirements, that is fixed capital and working capital requirement. All this you have studied, then factors affecting these two requirements, isn't it? Now, let us move on to next chapter. It's a new chapter, chapter number 10, financial markets. Financial markets. Let us know what is a financial market, the very meaning of financial market. Before that, let us have some introduction regarding the financial markets. No doubt, financial means money related, markets means you know that it's a buying and selling, isn't it? Purchase and sale, maybe investing, all these activities will come under the marketing, that's the activity. So financial market is very important in a developing or developed country especially. India is one of the major investor of money. Then the population of India is very high. So commercial activities always will be in huge volume. When there are commercial activities, we have to invest, we have to manage the funds, we have to appropriate the funds, we have to consider the risk factors. All these are very, very important. A household or an individual saves money for future safety, isn't it? They can invest that money either in banks or elsewhere, maybe government bonds or in corporate entities. How to invest in corporate entities? By way of purchase of equity shares or bonds or any other debentures, where the investor will get some sort of return. You know it very well that in case of equity shares, the return is high, but risk is also high. Higher the risk, higher will be the profit. But sometimes the investor has to assume a risk only without getting any return, because the corporate entities sometimes they fail, isn't it? So the people will invest, the individual will invest only in such ventures where they will get high return with low risk. Everyone wants to assume the same thing. Everyone wants higher return but no risk. We want more salary with lesser effort, isn't it? There should be peace of mind, there should be welfare activities, but workload should be less. People will assume in that way. When you enter a vegetable market, you will try to buy the best quality, isn't it? Because risk will be less. When you buy best quality, the chances of deterioration or adulteration will be less. Branded product you purchase, risk will be less, but you want to buy it at a lower price. So that is the same thing any investor wants to do. When I invest 10,000 rupees, I will think the different sources where I can invest, different opportunities, isn't it? Different avenues where I can invest, whether I can invest in banks and keep quiet myself, low return, lesser risk, isn't it? All these things we will assume. Take in case of banks itself, cooperative banks or cooperative societies rather, now also they are providing around 9.5 to 10% interest rate. But banks, if you enter banks for the same term, maybe 1 year term, banks will provide only maybe 5.5 to 6% nowadays. Maybe lesser than that, I don't know. Recent changes, I don't know. But still, just 1 month ago, I saw it was around 5.56% on the fixed deposits. So, what you want to do in that case, whether you will invest in cooperative society, one fine morning the board will not be there. If you ask the nearby people, they may say, oh, that society has been closed 1 month ago, isn't it? Funds have been misappropriated, society is no more, forget about your funds then. That means higher risk, more risk will be there, more return will be there. But in case of banks, that is a public sector enterprises of the government, they are secured. The deposit that is kept with the banks, it is fully secured and it is under the guidance and control of Reserve Bank of India, isn't it? So, risk will be less compared to cooperative society, risk will be less in banks, but the return is also less. So, common investor or I can say that households, they save their money. They have two options, either buy equity shares or bonds or any that is securities and keep it them, whatever return they will get, they will enjoy, or invest in banks and other financial institutions, where the banks and other financial institutions, like that is say households, what they will do, they have two options. One is either in banks or other financial institutions or straight away in corporate entities, isn't it? Corporate entities means what? Companies, isn't it? Firms, companies, all this comes under corporate entities. Here, or they can invest in banks. What the banks will do, they will invest in corporate entities or they will lend it to others, other households. Maybe some other person who is in need of a loan, to him the bank will provide fund in the form of loan on which the banker will charge higher rate of interest than what they offer to the person who has invested. Suppose Mr. A has invested in the company, in a bank. Banker may give 5% interest rate on the deposit made by him. Same fund will be diverted by the banker to provide loan to Mr. B. Mr. B is in need of money. The banker will provide loan to him maybe at 8% interest rate. Maybe housing loan or agricultural loan or individual, that is consumption loan, or for any developmental loan or for purchasing the property. Any name you call, but loan will be given, isn't it? That means the banker is investing here. Banker is investing here in the form of loan, and the banker will get some return. And again here, when the banker enters in corporate market, enters the corporate market, isn't it? That is capital market. The banker will invest in corporate entities in the form of, they will purchase debentures, they will purchase shares of the companies, and whatever return they will get, from that they will manage to provide interest to Mr. A, who is individual investor, who has invested money in bank and on which the banker is supposed to pay interest. So this is what the natural game is, isn't it? So because banker has to survive, banker cannot provide money from his pocket, can he? No, he cannot. He has to provide money, he has to manage by getting higher income on the investment and paying lower interest to the investor, isn't it? The person who has saved and invested, to him lesser interest will be paid, and the banker will collect higher rate of interest on the investment made by the banker in corporate entities. So this is how a financial market works. Now, keeping this in mind, let us move on to what is financial market. What is financial market? The meaning of financial market. Financial market exists wherever there is a financial transaction. So it is a market for the creation and exchange of financial assets. Creation and exchange of financial assets. If they ask you a question, what is financial market? This is enough. Financial creation and exchange of financial asset. The assets may be in the form of maybe shares or debentures of the firm or the company, and either new shares may be purchased. A company is issuing new shares, that is initial public offer, IPO, isn't it? That can be purchased by the company, that's by the bank, or they can purchase the existing securities from the secondary market. We will take up that part separately later, that is primary market and secondary market we will take up. But for the time being, just keep in mind that shares can be purchased directly from the company or from the market. In the market, you will get already existing shares will be traded. Suppose myself bought 1000 shares for Reliance Industries Limited. Straight away, by subscribing to the IPO, initial public offer. When the company has issued shares, I have subscribed and the company has issued directly to me 1000 shares. Suppose I have purchased at a price of rupees 500 per share from the market or from the company Reliance Industries Limited. Now the share price has boomed. After maybe 3 months, the share price has boomed to rupees 1000. What is the rate of Reliance Industries Limited now? Do you have any idea? Go through the news. CNBC channel, CNBC, TV18, some channel is there, business channel, just watch that. Not only serials and all those things, don't get addicted to those things. Better you addict to these things, which is your subject, friends. Being commerce students, you should know what are the how many shares are there in the market, what type of shares are there, what type of companies are there, A group, B group, isn't it? B1 group, like that, Z group, many type of classification is there in the market. So you should be aware of these things. So when you watch business channels, you will come to know regarding the various quotations, all these things, then news about different companies, how the corporate entities are moving, isn't it? All this information you will get. So now at present around 1000, it has reached up to 1100, 1200, then now it is stabilizing again, coming back, isn't it? Like that. So whatever it is, let us come to the point now. Here, creation and exchange of financial asset, I told. So creation means we will issue shares, the corporate entities will issue shares and we will subscribe for that. When a person subscribes for the shares, then if the price booms up to 1000, bought at 500, now it is increased to 1000, immediately I will sell. Immediately I will sell the shares. To whom I will sell? maybe some other person in the open market. In the open market, I will not return this to the company, because company will not buy the shares back unless they want to buy. Till then they will not buy the shares back. There are cases of buying back of shares that I will take up later, but 1000 rupees, it has reached to 1000. Now I will sell it in the market. Someone needs the shares of Reliance Industries. Maybe the person has got good news about Reliance Industries and the person will be interested to buy. I will sell and he will buy. That is just a transaction between purchase and sale, transaction between the investors among themselves. Myself is an investor, the other person who has purchased from me is also an investor. So there is a transaction between these people, the investors only. There is no involvement of the company. Reliance Industries will not come here. We are buying and selling among ourselves. So that is what is called secondary market. When myself bought shares from Reliance Industries Limited at rupees 500, that is called primary market, where the shares are sold by the company directly to the individual investors. Then one more is there, institutional investors. They are companies, corporate entities. They will buy shares from the company. They are institutional investors. We are individual investors. The single person purchases from the company. So here this transaction between the company and the investor is called primary market. And the transaction between myself and the other person, maybe Mr. B, who has purchased from me at rupees 1000 in the market, isn't it? That is called secondary market. In secondary market, the company will not come into picture, the company will not involve in the transaction. So that is the difference between primary market and secondary market. Clear? We will take up later. Whatever it is, let us come to the point here. Creation and exchange of financial assets. That is what I told. The transaction between myself and Mr. B is nothing but exchange of financial asset. Asset in the sense here, shares. I have bought an asset, that is share, by investing money. I sold it to Mr. B, nothing but exchange of financial asset. This is when I buy, it is creation of financial asset. Then when I sell it to Mr. B, it is exchange of financial asset. So that is creation and exchange of financial. Exchange in the sense purchase and sale. Either maybe purchase or maybe sale, that is called exchange of financial asset. So that is what the financial market is. Understood now? It is a market for the creation and exchange of financial asset. What are the financial assets? Maybe shares, debentures, bonds, or any other security. Any other security, isn't it? Now let us move on to the next part, that is functions of financial market. Now you got the very clear meaning of financial market. Correct? Yes. The savers, they will invest, isn't it? And that investment, if it is invested in banks, the banks will invest in corporate entities. The banks will buy shares and debentures of the corporate entities. That is investment, isn't it? And return will be given by the banker, interest will be given to the individual investors. If individual investor invests directly in the shares of these corporate entities, then the person will get in return maybe increase in the share price or appreciation in the value of shares. That is a profit. As I already told you, 500 rupees I bought and I am selling at rupees 1000. Difference, appreciation, increase in the value of rupees 500 is nothing but profit to me, return to me, right? Or if I invest in banks, I will get interest. I will get in the form of interest from the bank. So that is nothing but return to the individual investor. Now let us move on to the functions of financial market. Functions of financial market. Financial market. First one, First and foremost, mobilization of savings and channelizing them into most productive area users. Mobilization of savings and channelizing them into most productive users. Mobilization means, that is, creating savings, isn't it? Every day a person works, daily wage worker, he may save rupees 50 per day or 100 rupees per day, isn't it? He may invest in, let's say, a person may come every day, there's a pygmy collector, isn't it? Pygmy deposit. Every day the person may pay 5, 50, 100 or whatever the money he has saved on by the end of the day. And that money, that is mobilization of savings, that is his savings, and channelizing them. Channelizing in the sense diverting the fund into most productive users. Let me give you best example. Take Mr. A is a saver, a daily wage worker. He saves money, rupees 100 per day. Let us assume he has saved 3000 rupees per month, isn't it? The rupees 3000 that is saved by Mr. A will be channelized by the banker, or the banker will direct this divert this fund by providing loan to a corporate entity, XYZ Limited. XYZ Limited needs crores of rupees as a loan. XYZ Limited has approached the banker. Banker is the intermediary here. XYZ and A, maybe there may be many people, daily wage earners or maybe salaried people, isn't it? Many people, they have saved money and they have channelized the money into bank. They have saved the money into bank, and banker has diverted that fund to XYZ Limited by providing crores of rupees. From where the banker got the money? From these, that is savers, individuals, isn't it? They saved money, small amount saved by each person, together, pooled together, and it has become crores of rupees, and that amount has been diverted by the banker in the form of loan to XYZ Limited, where the banker will get higher rate of interest than given to these people. Banker may give 3% or 4% interest on the deposits made by these people, and while providing loan to the corporate entity XYZ Limited, the banker may charge 11% or 12% from the company. So the company will pay at the rate of 11% or 12% to the banker, and banker will provide from that amount, from that interest received from corporate entity, the banker will provide interest to these individual investors. So this is one of the functions performed by the financial market. So what the financial market will do? It will help the people to mobilize their savings. Why? How they mobilize their savings? Because of the function of the banker, because of the activity done by the banker. As banker sends his person every day to the home or the workplace of the person who is saving the money comes into bank. Otherwise, the people will spend, isn't it? They will become a bit lavish. They will spend recklessly without thinking. Tomorrow it is required, we have to take care of our children or our family tomorrow also. Such mentality in most of the people, it is absent. You might have observed during lockdown period, isn't it? Everyone was in need of money. Why? Because they didn't do any savings. There were no savings with them. They didn't plan their future properly. So they struggled a lot, suffered a lot. So here also, when we do the savings, the financial market helps helps in channelizing and diverting that fund to profitable or productive areas. If it is kept, suppose if I keep that 3,000 rupees in my cash box and I will lock it 10 times, 10 locks have been applied. Do you think after 1 year the amount will become double or amount will increase? No, it remains 3,000 only. Maybe some notes may get spoiled by fungus or all these things, isn't it? But here the thing is that if you invest it in productive areas, that means the corporate entity XYZ Limited, it may be earning a profit of maybe 50% on the investment. Today company invests 10 crore and after 1 year it may convert it into 20 crore, isn't it? That's 100% profit. Or it may convert it into 15 crore, 50% profit. So like that, isn't it? We have to make sure that the funds are utilized in an area where there is productivity. Productivity is in the sense whatever you have invested, a reasonable amount of return must come. That is productive. If you invest 1 crore and if you get 80 lakh on the next day or after 1 year, isn't it? Do you think there is productive activity? It is doing, you are paying from your pocket, friends. You are losing your money. It is not productive one. Productive in the sense there must be reasonable amount of profit or reasonable amount of return on the investment made here. That is what I stress. Clear? So mobilization of savings and channelizing them into most productive users in the sense wherever the money is required, wherever there is shortage of funds, we have to divert the money to the area where there is requirement. Where there is no requirement, the saver has no requirement of that money for the time being. So that has to be, the excess fund has been diverted to where the area where there is requirement, isn't it? Where there is shortage of funds. So this is one of the functions that is performed by financial market. Is it clear? Let us move on to the next point, that is facilitating price discovery. Facilitating price discovery. Price discovery. What is price discovery? It is by diverting the funds from surplus to shortage, from areas where there is no requirement to area where there is a requirement, they will create, that is they will create the price discovery. That means the interest rate will be settled or decided how much interest rate will be. So that is called price discovery. So by doing this activity of, that is channelizing into productive areas, the companies or the banks or any other investor, they will come to know how much return I will receive, how much return can be received. So that itself is called the deciding of the interest factor, isn't it? Interest rate on the investment made is nothing but price discovery. This is another function done by the financial, there is a market, financial market. Then third one is providing liquidity to financial assets. Providing liquidity to financial assets. Liquidity means what? Easily convertible into cash. Liquidity to financial assets. What are the financial assets? Shares, debentures, bonds, or any other instrument in which money is invested. So when you sell, you must get money immediately. Suppose you have hard cash, you can easily spend, isn't it? More liquidity. You have deposited money into your bank account, you have to go to bank, then you have to draw money, or you have to go to ATM center, you have to draw money, then you have to spend. Bit complicated than cash in your pocket. So next liquidity it is. Third one, I gave money to someone, my friend, he is supposed to return it, isn't it? I have to recover that money from him. Debtor. Next asset. So like that, there is liquidity order of each asset. In the same way, financial assets, if you purchase there is long term bonds maybe of 36 months, 3 years maturity, Can you convert it easily? No, it is not possible. But a deposit in bank, that is a fixed deposit, can be easily converted into cash. Isn't it? So the financial market, they provide liquidity to financial assets by providing ample opportunities, more avenues, more opportunity to invest in different types of assets. Like if you invest in equity shares, easily you can, within a fraction of a minute, you can give an order and you can get it cashed. You can get it encashed, so that you will get a recover. You can convert your financial asset into cash. Equity shares can be easily sold in the market without any, that is trouble. You may lose money, like you have bought at a higher price, now it is low, prices were less. That is a different issue. You may incur loss, but you can sell in the market, that is sure. So financial market provide liquidity to financial assets, that is you can easily convert your security into cash, your that is investment into cash, you can convert it easily because of the existence of financial market. Last one is reducing the cost of transaction. Now you may be knowing that is reducing the cost of transaction. In olden days, if you want to sell share, the procedure was very lengthy. You have to send the securities, the shares which you are having to the company. Maybe after 15 days, the company will check the that is genuinity of the security, the shares, and they may return it, stating that these are not the shares issued by us, these are bogus shares. So the liquidity was not there, and cost of transaction was very high, isn't it? When you send it maybe by speed post or courier or whatever the name you call, again they will return it to you, and when you convert it, there will be transaction cost again. So higher cost of transaction. Now just give a telephone call, or you can do on your own. Log into the that is stock market website and sell your asset very easily without much there's a cost of transaction, because it is totally transparent and that is online dealing. So you will not incur much cost, you need not have to incur more cost. Now the transaction cost has been reduced drastically. So it is because of the existence of financial market, you are able to sell the shares in the market without loss of money or time, and even the cost of transaction will be reduced. So these are the 4 functions that are done by the financial market. We'll move on to the next part, that is money market, in the next class. Before that, take assignment. Mention the 4 functions. Mention the 4 functions of financial market. Mention the 4 functions of financial market. Need not explain, simply mention 4 functions. Thank you for watching this video. Submit the assignment on time. Thank you.
Don't forget to like our video and subscribe our YouTube channel for all the updates.